Many of us around this country don't own suppressors. I personally don't own one, primarily because at first the process seemed long, confusing, and costly, and I really didn't understand the process, to be quite honest. But a lot of things have changed, and things are definitely changing right now when it comes to how fast you are getting approved for a suppressor. Some cases, same day approval. What is happening? Because we all know that the new director of the ATF, Steve Dettelbach, is a politically appointed director, and he is definitely more anti-gun than pro-gun. So he's not pushing to get our suppressors to us quicker. He's not. So why is this happening? Well, there's three big reasons, and Steve Dettelbach definitely has a lot to do with these three. But before we get into it, I do want to take a moment and let you know that here on this channel, God, Family, and Guns, everything is going to continue as normal. However, due to what I'm learning is kind of conflict of interest and algorithm, our spiritual content on this channel is not reaching many people because the algorithm's pushing gun content here, if that makes sense. It's confusing the algorithm. They don't know who to recommend it to. So we have another channel, GFG. It's really, I jokingly have been calling it the rerun channel because we just put a lot of our older content on there for the people that hadn't seen it. But it's going to be spiritual content only. So this channel will remain the same, but I highly recommend subscribe over there to GFG. I don't know what we're going to call it. We're working on it. Probably GFG Bible or something like that, where we're going to continue to go through books of the Bible verse by verse daily. So, right now we're going through Matthew, we're going through Acts, we're going through Joshua, all verse by verse. We're going through Enoch verse by verse, which is not in the Bible, but we're going through it. We've gone through Revelation verse by verse, Jude verse by verse. I mean, there's so many books that we've gone through verse by verse, and all that content's going to go there, so the algorithm feeds it to people looking for God content. Meanwhile, here on this channel, it's all going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change. But if you haven't, subscribe. I'm going to put a link below. Check it out. If you're just looking for the spiritual content and really a deep dive into verse by verse studies, that link is below. All right, so what is this? Well, there's three major reasons why. There were times people were waiting well over a year to get approved, which is why I just didn't buy a suppressor. It's something about, I know here in America we have the immediate gratification need where we just want what we want right then. But that's not it for me. It's just money's always been tight. I grew up in poverty. I was a teacher forever. So I never really had just an extra $500 to $1,000 I could just throw at something and then wait a year to get it. If I had an extra $500 or $1,000 to throw at something, I kind of wanted it right then and there, just because that doesn't happen very often for me. But now what we're looking at is many people are literally going and applying with their Form 4 to get their suppressor and leaving the store with their suppressor. Times are literally down to hours versus years. So what happened? There's three major things that happened. Let's start with the new director, Steve Dettelbach. Now, let's just say he is not pro-gun, so he is not sitting there trying to get us suppressors faster. But what he is he's a politically appointed leader, and that allows political pressure to be put on. For years, we didn't have a director of the ATF, and we had like interim directors who were just, but they weren't politically appointed, so you couldn't put any political pressure on them. Well, now there's political pressure. And that political pressure was put on them simply because of the second. So let's start with that. There's a lot of political pressure being put on the ATF. If they don't show results, they're going to lose their jobs. And he's not trying to show results of turning suppressors over quick. That is not it. What he is trying to show is, number two, a new system being put in place. There's a new computer system that really was developed back in 2017, but just never used. here's the problem with suppressors. There's a couple problems, and the third thing is the solution for all of this. So we'll get to that in a bit. Here's the problem with suppressors. It takes human approval. It doesn't take a system to approve it. So a human's going to go through everything on that Form 4 and have to investigate it all. And when that investigation is over and they've gone through all those questions and they've kind of said, okay, what's this? What's that? Is this thing true? Is this thing true? Is that thing accurate? This takes time. And now what we have is we still need human approval, but a computer system that was developed back in 2017 has now been activated. And it's going through about 80 to 90% of that application, then recommending an approval or not to a human. And then a human just double checks everything the computer does. So instead of a person getting this document, and it might take 5 to 10 days for that one person to do that one document, a computer's doing it in a few seconds, and then a human still approves it, but they go through that document kind of piece by piece quickly, and it takes seconds versus weeks. But they're also waiting on other processes like the NICS, because you're still going to have to go through NICS with the FBI, but they do it for you. So now, this leads to the third solution. So right now, the reason it's getting faster is you got political pressure put on leaders of the ATF that you didn't have before. You have a new computer system being enacted that's doing really 90% of the investigating versus a human doing all of the investigating. But the third piece is there's always been a system in place that's kind of first application in, first out. So if I turn in my application for a suppressor, it's going to go to the FBI for a NICS background check. If I get a delay and they're just going to sit there and wait, and everybody behind me has to wait, that's a problem, and that's a stupid problem that's been around for like 20 years. It's a stupid problem. So, everybody behind me now has to wait. So if I'm going through this paperwork little bit by little bit manually, and then I send it off to the FBI to get a NICS, and it says I got to wait, well, then that's just it. Like, that's at the top of the pile, and everything below that's just going to wait until my application finally gets approved by NICS or not. Then they'll continue through the application, then they get the next guy after that. Now, the way they've described it is it's kind of like McDonald's. If I order some food and it's going to take a long time, they have me go park somewhere while they continue with everybody else that has a faster order, if that makes sense. So these three things are critical, and they have changed everything. And honestly, I'm going to go back to, these are all ignorant things. These should have been fixed in like 1965. But here's what we got. We got political pressure that we can apply now. That's great. I'm not a fan of the director, and he's not a fan of us. But it still allows political pressure, because when you have a computer system that millions of dollars has gone into, they expect you to use it. And now it's being used. So you got the political pressure, you got a computer system doing 90% of the work that a human did just a few weeks ago, and you have this first in, first out thing just thrown out the window altogether because it was ignorant. Those are your three reasons why, if you now go to a store and you see a suppressor and you apply, you still got to buy your tax stamp, you still got to do all the same, you still have to do all the same stuff. But instead of waiting a year, or if you're lucky, 2 or 3 months, you now might get it that same day, if not just a few weeks at most, is what people are saying. Just turnaround times, just boom, 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 quick. So this is good news. So there you go. There's the three major reasons why, 5,000% increase in time on these. This is great. I find it strange saying this, but good job, ATF. You won't catch me saying that much, but there it is for what it's worth. Any thoughts or insight, definitely put that below. Do want to take a moment and say that most people watch this channel, not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. Greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.